Well, hello, everybody. What's happening? If you're here, then you are right where you're supposed to be. And we thank you and we appreciate you. And this is Tuesday, so it is a second look. Um, Great long running show, Trina. And now that Jenny's a part of it, this goes way back. But anyway, we're
Yes.
grateful and thankful that you all have tuned in. We speak favor over you as a group and as an individual. May there be nothing missing, nothing broken. You're the head, not the tail. You always come out above and not beneath. So speak it, say it like you own it. And if you don't feel like it, well, fake it. It'll eventually adapt to you. So
Amen.
that's something I know what to do. So, welcome everyone. Thank you, everyone in the chat room. Ginger, Doctor. I mean, there is just a lot of people. Um, I want to get a shout out real quick, Trina and Jenny, to JD. I know that he is listening and driving. I'd like the group just to send some positive energy to our friend, brother, fellow soul triber, freighter Nathan Shintek. Been battling some, and we've all been there, when oppression hits and it's a spiritual battle. And if you're like Brother Nathan is, he puts out some really the type of information that the masses are not meant to have. Magic is real, but
Mm-hmm.
the true magic is not known to the masses. Even what we think in this group is magic, we fail because there are just some knowledge that we won't ever be entitled to. It's not to say that you can't find it in the astrals, but as far as we're being told and taught, no. But anyway, Nathan, we love you, brother. Guy, thank you for Guy has been just a phenomenal individual. We got people here, ladies, that a lot of times you don't see their names because they're not active in the chat. And
Yeah.
it's true. So, Robert, thank you for all the emails on that one. I'm still digesting. And Donna, thank you for the recommendation. And Kathy and the others, Utopia. I'm going to be watching that through the recommendation of one of the Soul Tribe members. So, thank you all. So, thank you for allowing me, Trina, to step in on that one. But anyway, it was a rough night last night. We had what they call training storms. They started about 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon, and holy
Mm.
crap, we didn't get any sleep. It was like they would come through, last 45 minutes, maybe an hour. You would have a lull, and then the next one was come through. And at 3:02 this morning, there was a lightning bolt that flashed. It woke Lynn and I up. I mean, it was that bright.
Oh,
And typically, if you have a lightning bolt that bright, that close, it's going to make a hell of a sound. This one did not. It was weird because it seemed to last longer, and the rumble, the thunder, that's what got us. It lasted for like almost a minute and a half.
that's
So,
so strange that you say that because I was carving a wand just a few days ago now, and all of a sudden I was outside, obviously for the dust, and a thunderstorm rolled in just out of the blue. But the thunder wasn't breaking; it was just sound for the longest time. I've never heard thunder just rumble as long as it did. And there was no lightning that I could see, but it was very cloudy. But yeah, it's
uh,
strange, but
all right, this is weird. So, Jenny, you and I, we haven't talked. I mean, this
no.
so 2 weeks ago, I have it on video. We had a storm come in, and much to what there was no lightning, but there was this constant thunder. It never stopped. I recorded it, so I'll have to post that video. But weird.
Yeah, if I'd had my phone next to me, but I was carving a wand, which that wand's gonna do
Yes.
somebody a lot of good,
What? You don't have 8 hands?
I get it. Yeah, I would have recorded it because it was so strange. And I know in Spain they have thunderless lightning, which is beautiful. And I experienced that in Spain a couple of times. But I've never heard thunder like you describe there. It's exactly how you describe it, you know, and you're waiting for the break in it and it just doesn't come. It was
Yeah.
really
Hey, Trina.
How is
Love
my
you,
audio?
darling. Oh,
Is
you
it?
are sounding fucking
yeah, that's
fantastic.
Oh,
yeah.
thank God. Oh, thank
Well,
God.
that's all right. You can
Okay.
thank me. Thank yourself
Yes. I
too.
mean,
Thank Jenny.
always.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I see you as part of the God of my world.
Yeah,
Yes,
I mean, checks in the mail.
absolutely. Right. Right.
I
Yeah, one for
love it.
all for one, right?
Hey, some make a political party out of that
You
ideology.
know,
So,
when you guys were talking about the lightning, what kept coming into my mind was that, they fired up CERN again. And I wonder if that's messing
mm,
with the ionosphere and it's affecting sound. I was literally going, I wonder if that might be part of this.
Yeah, Trina, 200, yeah,
yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah. And literally,
Especially,
that's all I kept seeing was that was affecting the sound. I was like, wow. And for the last 2 days, I keep hearing, guys, it's time to learn everything that you've learned, everything that you know about healing, the power of sound, the power of crystals, intentions, smudging, salt, all the old traditions of protection. They're saying it's time now to activate all you've ever learned and protect and shield the planet.
It's
yeah,
There's
interesting you're saying this. So I'm not versed in this yet, but I am using some spells that you actually have to use these.
yeah, tuning forks.
Yeah, and so it's quite interesting because you can actually invoke certain spirits by merely finding their frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we're not alone, folks. But
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah.
because not all spirits speak English.
No, and
no.
I've been like,
I'm just saying, everyone, it's amazing because you see people practicing magic and you're going, but wait a minute, they how can that be when anyway, I digress.
I keep hearing too, they say, ring the bells, ring the bells, ring the bells, the sound of
Mm.
chimes, the sounds of bells, the sound of wind chimes. They're like, ring the bells, ring the bells. So there's something very powerful that we can do if we put sound into our environment.
Well, I have the healing bowls. I know
Yeah.
you have them, and
Yeah.
Jenny, I'm not sure if you have them, but
I do.
um,
I'm busy building something actually with sound, and I'm hoping it pulls off.
see, now this wasn't on the agenda.
Oh
Nothing
no,
like this
Yeah.
was,
it involves
no.
water and sound, and the person being
Yeah.
in water what during the sound. It's old ritual.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
ancient times when you rebirth stasis, they did it for stasis magic to put somebody in stasis. You know how you would put a vampire to sleep for a while. So yeah, that
Mhm.
I've been looking at that and building it, and some included. I've been getting that done, so it's so synchronistic that you guys bring that up just from the
Because we didn't talk
ethers.
about this. I mean,
No.
It's just so organic.
there is so much guidance. I mean, my dreams lately have been really bizarre, and
Cool.
and it's odd because I was drawn to a series on Netflix, and I mean, I wasn't even looking for this. And when I saw this title, I just had this voice saying, "You really should watch this." And so if you have Netflix, you can watch the series called The Order, and specifically of the Golden Dawn Hermetic Order of the Blue Rose. And this is in the story, it's a very secret society. They recruit their members from college students because they're at their prime of this, and it's very interesting. Um, I have been quite taken aback because they approach the subject of an egregore on a level, girls, we have not even. And I'm writing notes, and Lynn is she's reading something else, but she's hearing this, and she says, this is the first time I ever seen in any series or a show talking about egregores in the way that they create them, how they
Frankenstein.
manifest them. Oh yeah, and I mean, and blood plays
Mhm.
a huge factor in the
And
magic. In
semen.
fact,
And
yeah, well,
semen.
it's interesting because where the blood is concerned, the
Mhm.
blood has to be almost present in every spell and every incantation.
Yeah,
But
the life is
if
in the
you get
blood.
Netflix, check it out. It has uh Enochian magic. It deals with whoever these writers were. They
They
freaking
be
have to
making
know
golems.
something. I mean, and they do it in such a way that it's fantasy. Yes, it is. But hey, man, I've heard this before, and I'm going. I've got some of the grimoires they actually show, and
Yep.
it's like. And the thing is, if you possess these grimoires, I was lucky enough to get one. It's very difficult to find. Etsy is where I find a lot of these at,
Mm.
and yeah. So anyway. I digress.
Interesting. This is so interesting. Well,
But it's
there's
weird
so many.
because we are witches. This
I,
group, we
yeah,
are we are within ourselves because we speak of the magic
yeah,
many
wisdom.
times. Yes, we share this, and this is
Mhm.
what makes families. Weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
True,
it's
because you've got to
powerful.
have a safe space to speak about this level of magic, because blood magic is an integral part of it. It is, but
It's the
it's
original real magic.
Holy
Well,
Grail.
it's just,
Blood is
well,
the Holy Grail, and but you've got to have a safe space to talk about it because the magic is they've got everybody so afraid of some of the blood intent magic that might go on behind the scenes that powers everything, that when we come out and discuss it to give people knowledge and wisdom of how to use it with the intent that would improve their lives, they're frightened of us. We really are witches in their eyes. They're frightened of the witchcraft that we speak of. So this group, these people, it's important to have this kind of synchronistic level of thinking where you can share in a safe space, to push it out slowly.
Yeah, and
you know,
Sean, you're right. This group can do something. I got the feeling, and I'm just going to say this,
yeah.
I can't back this up, but I have a feeling that, and many times I've had this feeling in dealing with some of the subject matter that and when we have people like JD and Nina and others that bring up the gnosis of the gods, we are, in a sense, invoking them or alerting them to our presence. And I'm convinced there are some very powerful people that watch this channel. They may watch others, but I got a sense that they never say anything. I can't prove it, but
Mhm.
it's an
You
itch that I
feel it.
can't scratch.
You feel it. You feel their
Yeah,
presence. You feel their
yeah.
Yeah.
presence. I feel their presence and I know they're here. I feel
Oh,
them.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
Straight
yeah.
up.
haven't put anything out on my channel, and they're stalking my channel. They're still taking videos down from years ago. I keep getting notifications, so they're definitely stalking over there, and there's nothing new to look at as of yet. So they are stalking, they are watching,
I
they
think
are.
of it, I get the sense that it's not nefarious. I
Oh no, I
get the
don't think
sense
it's
that they're
nefarious.
guides. They're trying to guide us group by group.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
But then you
No,
I
know what
just
I've
sense
seen
that.
too? I've kind of watched that and it seems like there is usually something nefarious behind it because you can play with these things and then you can
Oh,
actually see their intent after a little bit. You just got to go. a little further down the line. And then you're like, uh-huh. And talking about weird dreams, you know what my weird dream was a couple days ago?
What's that?
I woke up having an argument with a snake. I was fighting with a snake. I was like, well, which serpent are you? Are you the bad one or are you the rainbow one? Which one are you? I was like, I don't know about you yet. And it's like, oh no, I'm very nice. I'm like, bite me, stay away. You just stay your little distance and I'm gonna have to figure you out. I was like, I don't know if I can trust you, little serpent. And then all of a sudden, boom, my dogs were next to me. And then I woke up.
Well, it's
Interesting.
odd how we're bringing this up because I've stated it here, it's on the record, many times being visited by this golden dragon.
Serpent.
And
Yeah, dragons. Me too. Remember the orange one I had
well,
a while
and I
back?
went
Yeah.
back in, 8 months ago that was so regularly. Um,
Mhm. Yeah.
so do you know who this is weird. I'll share this with everybody. Um, this kind of blew me away. So this is the Grimoire of Tiamat. And I just want to read this to you because this is about the dragon goddess. The dragon goddess is Tiamat.
That makes so much sense to me in my consciousness.
It says, in the eons of reawakening, forgotten gods and spirits rise to reveal their teachings to those who do not fear to embrace the gnosis that was shunned and abhorred for centuries and labeled as demonic, devilish, or forbidden. The bad reputation of the left-hand path rests on its antagonism and transgressive practices, which are tempting and attractive in their promise of transforming man into God. These practices are also viewed as fearful and dangerous. However, as they shatter and rebuild every single aspect of an individual psyche, personal life, and the whole perception of the surrounding world, not everyone is ready for this change, and for many potential initiates, the path becomes a horrible trauma instead of a beautiful and liberating spiritual adventure. The teachings revealed in this book are not for everyone either. Casual experimentation with this work is strongly discouraged, as these rituals open the gateways of the soul that can never be closed again. The Gnosis of Tiamat, the primal dragon goddess, is terrifying, demanding, and transformative in all possible levels of existence. It will take the practitioner to the very womb of chaos, where the soul will be devoured, dissolved, transformed, and reborn in order to become the dragon in essence, the living incarnation of this primordial current. And it talks about,
Whoa.
it's serious, even though
Whoa.
Tiamat and the myth of creation, which inspired the work of this grimoire and derived from the ancient Babylonian lore, the ritual system presented here can hardly be called Babylonian magic, and it does not claim to be such. There are no archaeological findings or historical accounts that would confirm any form of worship to the primordial gods or demonic beings created by the dragon goddess. The only mentions of demons and evil spirits are found in exorcism and banishing formulas. Therefore, the rituals presented in this book do not revive any ancient tradition and are not reconstruction of any lost magical systems. Instead, they constitute a framework for the application of gnosis that was revealed through the teachings of the demon gods themselves and are laid down here specifically for those who seek self-deification in the modern world. This is a book for occult practitioners of the present century. And tomorrow, folks, we'll be getting into this book. This is one of these foundations of the magic that I'm being led to.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
this predates the Hebrew God. This
Yep.
predates pretty much most of the other gods. So
Mhm.
anyway, ladies, I thought I'd share that with y'all. And
Yeah. The Enuma
Yeah.
Elish. Yeah, that's a beautiful book.
Yeah, yeah, it's a must. It's a must when you're ready
Mhm.
for it.
yeah, when you're ready for it. That's so true, Jenny. And um, I don't know. I just got a sense that this group, we're not part of a secret society. I believe that there are those who listen to this channel who are,
Mhm.
because, you know, when I brought out, for instance, the Satanic Bible and read it
Mhm.
to the public on that created a chain of events that just by reading the material, regardless of where it came from, it's
Right.
the fact that it centers in on a powerful entity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what magic does as well. I mean, I'm finding that if you become inclusive of these spirit beings, that's my perception of them. I don't see them as angels or demons,
Only there.
because that's like watching a football game. They're playing
Mhm.
football, different teams, but they're still playing football.
Yeah. Mhm.
Welcome to my world,
Right.
I mean, so here we got Gabriel. He's going to be facing, Anthroth, and, you're going, okay, pass, do the Hail Mary.
Yeah.
It's it's difficult as well when you're reading things out like that, because you have to be really, like Trina said before, really dedicated to doing things like I've just sent off some ritual tea baths, that it's tea for your bath, and that's an ancient ritual of cleansing and renewing, and those kinds of rituals right now in particular, they always have been, but like Trina said, are paramount. And even when you've been, like you say, opening up gateways just through discussion, you're not going into the magic and the ritual itself, it's still opening that space up where you're connecting with a lot of other consciousnesses, and you have to get really good at then cleansing yourself and detaching the tendrils that you might have created just through speaking it out, and that's a much safer way and a more wisdom-filled way of doing the process, but you do put yourself out there doing it.
What you do, and I'll admit this to this group, I don't have a problem with it at all. I mean, I was taught the custom of the blood ritual decades and decades ago.
Mhm.
I have signed and in blood, my blood specifically, on a number of different types of contracts.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It works. It's powerful, but
Mhm.
there
I did
you have
one.
to
I've only
really
done
be
one.
careful of it, because it does have a boomerang.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yours Venus ones were drenched in my blood because I always cut myself. I always injure myself.
All the time. You do. I
Yeah.
mean,
You know, when I'm doing ones for other people, or if some other people would be like yourselves, where I think, no, I'm going to let that absorb and just rub the oil on it so it rubs in, because I know that the intent it's going to be used for, I can connect with, I can resonate, and I know it's received well. But other ones that I cut myself and bleed all over, I sand them right down so that there's no
there's
layer of
a lot of truth to that.
yeah. So you've got to protect yourself, but also connect with the people who you can trust with that holy grail.
Yeah, I mean,
Like I said,
it's the idiom blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, if there's
yes.
that
That's the
is,
Mm.
energy of life. That's
yeah.
the energy of life manifest. It's literally life creating out of the spiritual into the physical
Well,
world.
those are
It's
three
our hand.
essences of the body as well.
Yeah.
You have the sweat, which is a, result,
Salt.
yes. Blood, which is salt, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Primordial life.
there's a whole grimoire of knowledge on tears.
Yeah,
Yes, it's all salts. They're all
yeah,
different salts.
Yeah.
That's why I woke up this morning too. Salt, 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 salt. Ye are the salts of the earth. Shine the salt. Be the salt. Protect us the salt. Create the holy water now. I was like, whoa, okay, cool. Salt.
Yeah,
Part of
because
the holy water is magnesium chloride too, for anybody thinking we're all lacking in magnesium chloride. And part of the ritual water was always filled with magnesium chloride, which is the salts of the sea. You know, it's harvested from the salts of the sea. And so Trina's right on with that. The ritual waters add magnesium chloride to them, and you've got a
Holy
synergy.
water.
Yeah, holy
yeah.
water.
Well, in some of the rituals that where tear magic is concerned, if you're
Yes.
conscious of it, for instance, a tear of sadness, that has the essence of many different types of spells.
Yeah.
You can transfer that sadness to another individual, or you can use it as to break sadness
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
yourself or others.
That's why the only tears I've ever used with anything are gratitude.
I can see
Gratitude.
that.
I will only roll with gratitude because give it to the universe, let it figure it out. It's way smarter than you. All I'm going to do
Yeah,
is say thank
there
you
it is.
and get it done. Happy now. See you. Bye.
Well,
That's
you
all it
have
is.
tears
It's
of joy. Tears of
yeah,
joy and happiness or
gratitude. Oh,
prosperity. They
oh, those are
bring
good.
abundance. They will cleanse and counter any negative dark force that is coming against you. But you see, we are not taught these things. When you have tears, people wipe them away. But if you're really smart, you would, and you've got, and actually, my wife has a curio of several different bottles that are designed to where you can actually capture, even if they evaporate. It's
Yeah.
the essence within the bottle itself.
And of
That's
Yeah.
course,
deep magic. Now we're talking some stuff here. Now there are a number of different incantations and a number of grimoires and other books that you can add your magic to that. And
Yeah.
Jenny, you're sitting there smiling, shaking your head like, yeah, I've heard this.
yeah, like see, and this is where me and Trina marry up because of the star signs that we are as well. I don't actually capture tears because I've got little bottles with corks on. Um, I, I don't capture tears of joy or bliss. I let them flow. You know, I'm usually in the
Yeah,
moment, let them flow
sure.
forward. But I very rarely cry with sorrow or pain. I very rarely cry with that. When I do capture the tears of that because that for me gives me an opportunity to capture the essence of something deep that I can then work on in
Mhm.
physical form, by I label the bottles as to how I would like to transform them with the words I want to transform them with. And so I capture those mostly, but that's probably because I'm a hippie and I'm in the moment when I'm in
I
bliss.
love that hippie. Clever Gypsy, I love what you just wrote. She says, my favorite saying is, I can say a prayer for you, or I can cast a spell for you. You
Yeah.
choose.
Yeah.
Because a prayer it's an invocation.
It's a
One and
spell.
It
It's the
is a
same
spell.
thing.
It's
It's the
exactly
same.
what it is,
There's no difference. No difference at all. None.
Yeah.
None.
this
No difference at all. None.
this isn't
None.
political at all. It might be not bad political, but during the last few years with the NHS, the NHS that we have, the system we have, they had people in the early days banging pots and pans at the same night every week on the same night of the week for support of the NHS and the workers, which I thought was stupid because I thought, well, workers that have been on night shift, they're not going to want banging pots. And people were hanging out of their windows on a Thursday night, banging their pots at
Well,
six or
isn't that a
seven.
tradition of thwarting evil spirits?
Yeah, but it was in support.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
They were
at night particularly.
Yeah, they were getting thousands of people fooled into the fact that it was for the staff and to show gratitude, but actually it moved things along nicely for the people who put the idea of that spell out, over the airwaves. And I
Perfect
thought,
example of a mass spell.
Mhm.
wonderful example of it. At
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
time, I was like, wow, this is Okay, wow, yeah. That was a powerful spell, and I won't go into it all what it moved along, but it moved and shifted along a lot of things that wouldn't have necessarily gone through if people hadn't been so encapsulated by that spell of gratitude, feigned gratitude, because they're being failed by the NHS, so they're actually clapping for something that's
I
failing
I
them.
I
Mhm.
wonder. My mind goes not to the effect of the mass, but I'm more focused in who came up with that idea.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I thought you're
Yep.
genius.
Now, is
Yeah.
this person, are they practicing magic? Many people don't
Um,
realize that, and it's odd. As I look back in my life, I have seen individual practicing magic. They're not even aware that they're practicing it. They may
Mm.
not invoke the word, they may not invoke
right.
the deity, but they're working it.
And there's
Mm.
the most powerful wizards you've ever seen. It's
Yeah.
insane. I know people that do that. They manifest instantly and they don't even know they're doing it. I'm like, wow.
I know
They're,
one person who is very wealthy, but they are a
Mhm.
practitioner of the left-hand path.
Mhm.
And the left-hand path is the path of prosperity.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It can bring riches beyond any person's wildest imagination.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Be easier to get through the eye of a needle.
A lot of people don't even realize that, that's a gate. And
There's a
you heard that
cost,
story.
right?
Well, actually, it goes back to the time when the walls were built around Jerusalem, and there were 12 walls. Each one was called a gate, and you had the camel gate. And
Mhm.
the thing about it is that it was designed for the camel to bend down and then to go through. So yeah, it's always so weird.
Interesting. That's
Yeah,
very
isn't that? It's
interesting.
like it,
That's
yeah.
very interesting. That's
Everything.
very interesting. I like
You
that. That's
see,
super
reading the
cool.
Bible taught me something.
I love it. I think that's I've never heard that. That's
Yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah,
I
that's where
love
that
it.
comes from. They had the sheep gate. The sheep
Wow.
gate is, interestingly enough, the sheep gate is where they would take the refuge.
Interesting. Wow.
Think about this. So you're
Wow.
going, well, all right, do I really want to be a sheep?
Right.
No, give me a hump any day.
Right. Me too.
So bad.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, I
Think
got
I'd
to get
rather
my
be a camel.
mind back up, because when you said that one, I'm thinking a double hump, that's
I was down there like a camel, didn't I? In the gutter.
You know, it's so interesting when we look at all these things, especially, with the current systems of religion, all of it's about giving your power away.
yeah, it
And I know
is.
that it's the main focus because if we ever understood that we were the power and we used it to come together to create what we want to see, it would really be game over. And I think this is the ultimate thing that people are starting to tap into a little bit is with all the questioning of the religion, they're starting to see that no, religion is a beautiful thing if it would only have taught us that it was about us, not about
Yeah,
something
yeah,
outside of
yeah,
us. And it was something
yeah.
that those powers of creation are part of us. If we were taught backwards, this would be the most beautiful power on the planet, but it was inverted to keep us suppressed.
Wow, you're I'm having a flashback, Trina, as you're talking, because there was a time where I was a counselor for our church. So when people would come up for the call of salvation, I would be assigned to a person that had walked up there. Now, this is powerful magic. And I never realized what I was doing. So once they gave the verbal thing of permission that they're yielding to the Holy Spirit and thus giving their soul to Jesus. My job was to take them back into the prayer room and to talk to them about receiving the Holy Spirit. Now, as I look at this today, I'm sitting here as I'm looking, you can almost come slack jawed because this is much like an initiate. who is being exposed to a new victim, a new soul has come in.
It
And
is.
now we have to invoke this Holy Spirit. I'm going to lay hands on them. I'm going to pray upon them, not over them. I've laid my hands on them, and I need them now to yield their authority, their spirit to this higher spirit, and allow the possession to come in and take place by the evidence of speaking in other tongues.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep.
And the
Yield,
framework of
yield your power. Yield your power. All of it's about them making you yield to a higher being, to never believing in the own power of your own soul, to stop you to even access your soul because you're being distracted
So
by
tell
the
me how
lower
that's not
God.
the left-hand path.
yeah.
Yeah,
Of course
I
it
know.
is.
Because
then,
now they're going to go out transformed.
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we need them to do one other thing. We need them to take communion because they have to take of the blood and the body. And then
Flesh.
we need to immerse them in water.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's dead water. I have never yet seen an air stone in a church's water. It is a cesspit of all of those self-sacrifices that were made under the framework of religion that does not get cleared. And if they do clear it, they clear it with chlorine, not UV light. So it's dead water.
Yeah.
You know, this is some heavy shit, folks. I mean, and to
Yeah.
me, as you know, I'm on the left-hand path. You know, whether, you know, you want to call it right or left, I know the path that I'm on. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking back from where I came from. And to be candid with you, it freaks me out.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
that's
like,
some powerful, powerful, wow. I mean, you're literally capturing an individual's soul.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone
Yeah.
fucking get this? I mean,
Oh,
this
I
is
did.
what happens in these ceremonies that if you go on outside of these ceremonies and then begin to invoke these other spirits, well, that somehow is bad. But
Yeah.
over here, it's completely acceptable.
The only time ever I was possessed in my life when I was doing that with worship. It took me over. I've never had it
Can
happen
I say
since.
something out there? And I'll just be very blunt. It's
Yeah.
interesting because I've talked to a number of women on this. Many of them that after they experience this they say that they have this huge sexual appetite. And it's a whole, and listen, I'm just telling you the truth here, that it's a whole different, it's weird. And I've heard this more from one, two, or three, or four. It's something that they just say physically begins. It's weird. So
It's like they've taken on a parasite and it feeds on different energy streams and invokes
yeah,
different
yeah,
properties for its own benefit within its host.
yeah.
And it's fed a load of pudding
Seriously.
like pasta every Sunday.
And in every
Yeah.
major church I was involved in, every mega church to a smaller church, adultery was always there.
Oh,
Oh,
Somebody was
totally.
screwing
It's
somebody.
like, yeah.
It's like, okay, this
You're
kind of
having
makes
trouble
sense,
hooking
you
up, go
know?
to church.
it was
Yeah,
like
go
red.
to church. Yeah, that's all you need. Yeah. You get hooked
What's
up
that,
right away.
Jenny?
It was like the Amsterdam red light district in every I went to. And forget about it when we were having big conventions. I mean, just forget about it. Nobody knew which hotel room they belonged to by the end of the weekend. It was. I've never experienced adultery at that level in any other
Oh,
sphere of my life since I left when I was 13 and had a choice to say, no, you can't carry me there. Because it honestly, it was the most adulterous place I have
Oh,
ever.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you know,
God is a sexual God and
highly sexual.
it
oh
wants
gosh.
to watch, literally. It's crazy the amount of
Yeah.
I've talked to a number
You're
of
so right, Jenny.
national evangelists, many of the names you would probably recognize. And they have said many times, and when they were out in the road, you know, doing their evangelical thing, you know, visiting other churches and what have you, many times they were approached, and oddly enough, it was the pastor's wife that would knock on their door. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's interesting as I'm looking back and I'm recounting particularly
Mhm.
one preacher I remember talking about this. it was at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
That's the witch's hour.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the hour where the veil is, it can be transcended anyway. So tell me
Yeah,
something going on here now.
that's a true partnership. I'll get them in the daytime and you get them at the night.
All of a sudden you're hearing tambourines going off with the choir picking up behind the hotel and stuff, and drums going off.
Scotty Boy said, God is a freak in the sheets.
Right. Right.
And you think about it, and then you look at how Hollywood has portrayed this, because I think it was the movie called The Entity, where it was the first actual case documented by the parapsychology department at UCLA, where the woman was in fact raped by this demon, this entity. They actually captured it the best they could, but she was raped multiple times. And, you're going, that's always been something that I couldn't quite figure out. So is this other spirit side really that much different? I mean, if you have a spirit that can invisibly attack a woman, and I guess maybe they're gay too, I don't know. But
Oh, I've heard that definitely, absolutely. If you're male, there's no boundaries.
I've
None.
heard Jen do that a lot. I don't know if that's true, but I have heard that.
Our terminology is, it doesn't
Exactly. What is a Jen to a demon?
Right. But
Yeah.
bottom line,
Aren't
right.
they
It's
the
just a
same?
dark energy that wants to hurt the physical human.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
cares what you call it? It's bad.
Any hole's a goal.
Yeah,
Any
whatever.
hole is, yeah.
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 Wow.
Yep.
Any,
Yeah, these things, yeah, I know people who have been attacked by those unseen forces, and that shit's real. I'm like,
It
oh,
is real. And so what's going on here? To me, it's just like, this is so bizarre, because if you have a spirit that can manifest itself into the physical to where it stays invisible, but yet the assault is real.
yeah,
What's going on here?
not invisible. It's in a different light spectrum.
Okay,
yeah,
I agree,
it's
Jenny.
in
I agree with that.
infrared or ultraviolet
Or
spectrums.
one,
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah, we just can't see it, but most of the dark ones are in IR.
Seth
infrared.
says, look at Zeus. Zeus was a horny. He was a man whore. I mean, that's all you got to say. She's total man whore.
Yes.
And the it comes through in the red and the blue, like Trina says, because that's predominantly the auric spectrum that we're in, that surrounds us, that we don't see but we feel. And so that's why they use blue and red in politics, because we are naturally drawn to pick a side when we should have the blue and red together as wholeness. And so yeah, they come in on they're not invisible at all. They're very tangible. They're very much there, just outside of the visible spectrum, usually, of the person who is being victimized by them.
I saw one time that was over somebody. I was staying at their home after they were recovering from a surgery, because they said they got demonically attacked and had to have multiple stitches in their private parts. And
Holy crap.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it the next day standing over her in her bedroom. I saw it.
So, okay, you just brought this up, and I just wrote this down, folks. You didn't even say, Trina, but so my mind is thinking, as a practitioner, and I'm still basically an acolyte, but if that entity entered in that woman, my question is, were there fluids or potential semen that may have resulted from that? And if you had collected that, that's an essence of a being that would be transdimensional in nature.
It's like DNA. You wouldn't be able to see it. It's just like
that,
DNA.
That would be the thing.
DNA. Yeah, you couldn't see it. Not with our technology
but what
yet.
If, my mind is going in 1,000 different directions, because
yes, it leaves a trace. It leaves an essence. It does. It absolutely does. It just like a human. Yes.
It comes back to those quirks that we were talking about last week, in they can transcend, through different realms and come back unchanged. It's a similar thing, isn't it? And my daughter mentioned a parasite or something, or is it a parasite or an insect that can do that? Then they know about it. They're watching it. They're studying it. I'll find out from what it is
Yeah,
again
let us know.
that can do that. So if you think they haven't collected that kind of thing, I think you'd be wrong, because of course they have. They're collecting the data already, on
Yeah.
things like including energetic forms of.
Yeah.
You
For
see,
that
this is
energy.
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna delve into that because I can't be the first one that if these attacks happen, and we know they do, then is it possible, to get a vaginal swab and then be able to take that into an analysis for DNA? What was the woman who would actually have her DNA? Could it be traced that way? And if it could, then that would be proof that we're not alone.
I
Well, you
think
want
they
to know the
already.
worst part? It used the appearance of her ex-husband. So she literally had her ex-husband falsely arrested, and there were total evidence. He was in a public place with like 150
Oh,
people. There was no way it could have been him. And he was there for 7 hours. So there's no way it could have been him. So yeah,
whoa.
this gets even deeper. So like Adam and Eve, the serpent in the garden, oh crap, this stuff might still be going on. It's insanity what I witnessed. What? Yeah, freak. Whoa.
So it's odd that we're talking about this because, the show is primarily sided to
And
the feminine side,
and then when I saw
which I
this thing,
like, embrace.
Wayne, it looked so handsome. Oh God, he was hot. Wow.
So then,
Then
it,
I said, "Show me your real self." I knew it was hiding. And then it grew fangs and completely transitioned into something totally different. Yeah, right in
shit.
front of my face. I was like, what? What? Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was pretty scary.
It's really interesting because, manifestations of demonics it's a big deal.
Yeah,
And the thing
it is.
is, getting back to this show, The Order, it was really interesting because they had mistakenly invoked this lesser demon. And then every demon can be bound.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to share
Mm.
something. I don't know if the rest of y'all know this, but every demon can be bound and, in fact, through contract, will obey exactly what you tell it to do. And once it does it, then its contract is fulfilled and you can't control what it does other. Where they made the mistake was that they invoked this demon that was a baron, high-ranking demon. And when it took full physical manifestation, they said the last time this demon was broke loose is when World War II started.
I can imagine.
Oh,
And if you get a
So
rock by your
interesting.
door, I'm afraid
very
maybe.
interesting that someone knows something that's writing this script, and I've taken the names down of the people in it. But anyway, yeah.
They say every time this devil's comet has come through, it's been the precursor for a war involving the United States. I think the last one was Vietnam.
That's right.
We're gonna get our asses kicked.
Born in Vietnam.
Jeez. I want to be that 3-year-old little girl. I want to go out and kick their ass. Why? Because if they get inside, they're going to kick my ass. Better to kick them
They're
their ass
gonna
on the
try.
outside.
For real, they're gonna try.
Yeah.
But no, they're no, we actually have power over all of these things. We really do. We don't remember and
Well,
we
the
don't
thing is, if
understand.
we ever got our shit together, the poop all into one room,
Yeah,
we in essence would become a society with ourselves, and that becomes we become a threat because if you really believe magic is real and you have even the fundamentals of how to begin to do spells, incantations, bounding, loosing. When I was a Christian, I went through a whole 6 months of being taught how to bind and loose spirits.
Yeah, I bind
yeah,
you to the depths of the sea.
Exactly. I
yeah,
bind you in the name of Jesus. I
yeah.
loose you to go forth. I mean, and as I'm looking at this was my initiation.
It's so
I've done
crazy
it.
about it because,
I did it with ease.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 And if we
Because
ever got ourselves together, we could change governments.
yeah, oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. This is
I
part of
think
it.
that's supposed to happen. That's supposed to happen because it's part of the shift of the energy
Hmm.
from going on the downward on the sine wave to going upwards on a sine wave. It would require a total change of all of those systems. And hopefully, religion will restructure in a beautiful way because that's probably going to fall apart too, as we're well noticing it. It really, truly already is. So
Yeah.
everything's going to have to get restructured to a more self-reliant, self-responsible understanding of what you think about, you bring about, y'all. So quit letting people
Boy, you
control your
hit some.
brain.
Let's just hit on that a second, because that is one of the key tenets is
Yeah.
accepting personal responsibility.
The must. If you don't, you will kick your
If
own
you
ass.
screw up, exactly, if you fuck
You
up on
got
this
it.
thing, you're going to get your ass kicked. And
Bam.
you can't be running and say, well, magic is bad. No, you screwed up.
Not
It
just
has
that, they're doing it
consequences.
every day
Well,
with
that's the
somebody
problem.
else's.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing it
Well,
every day.
well, if we can get our poop together, then we can go out and help others, I guess. What's that,
Yeah.
Jenny?
Can I just read something super quick that's so
Sure.
synchronistic? And I wrote this afternoon, just thinking of you guys, thinking of putting a video out, hopefully at some point. And I've put "Marry Me." I do regularly. The divine dialogue that certain beings that I hear have is always present. You're always hearing that inner dialogue of the back and forth, the yin and yang. So but it's regularly loud, and there's so much on the outside that is drawing those two divinities into separate directions, where the loudness keeps going, but there's no synergy, and they often pull off the magical. And then there's moments like where there's a coupling for the opportunity, as in a marriage that's been on the edge of divorce, to work together in unison. It takes the dialogue to be quieter, to be timely, to have thoughtfulness behind it, and a remembrance of where the switches are for both the black light and the white light, the yin and the yang. It's those same switches that not only direct the light, they also unsheath the dark and open up the receptors for the words exchanged, rather than being talked over and loudly shouting in each corner of the ring. It acts as a hearing and a vibration that will build on the thoughts or words that are then present. It is at this point where the divinities, the divine feminine and the divine masculine, truly commit to the sex magic that can only be defined as magical, that can move mountains when swords are received submissively and gracefully, and the secretions of all of the past emotions are then applied to words in a way that are then heard and lubricated with the swords and the thoughts, where the very masculine merges those receptors into being. The orgasmic birth of newness, awareness, and manifestation occurs during this shift in gears. It is when the divinities are working in synergy and they no longer listen to the outside excitement that causes them to be divided. It is at this moment that we become terrifying. It is at this moment that we actually become a threat. And I've written that clearly. But it is at this moment that we could shift and move mountains, change governments, end wars. So
I think you're right. That's awesome.
it's a marry me, and you have to marry yourself regularly with that inner dialogue. If you're that type of being that has that dialogue, it's very powerful. And usually the powers that be hook into the two sides of you. They need you to do that. So those two sides actually express the manifestations of the powers that be. But when there's that synergy, that coming together, that's the orgasmic kundalini of thought, of newness, of a birth, of if you then had a tulpa, and you were projecting it into that's oneness. And that's what shifts. It's those magical spots where you come into alignment with self truly.
That was the first lesson of the series for the students. Magic is real. And by the way, they also had a whole 2 episodes on golems.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, like I said. And I kept on
Wow.
hearing in the back of my mind, this could become the Order of the Purple Sash. It,
like
I
that.
mean, you think about that.
I love the violet because that's the
Yeah.
crown.
Yeah.
That's where you want to go. You want
Yeah.
to have that full frequency hertz
Yeah.
available to you when you need it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's the energy that we're
Serious
supposed
stuff,
to
man.
come
That's all I
into.
gotta say. And
Yeah.
so tomorrow I'm doing the show. I got this in meditating on this. I know how imperfectness was created.
I love it. I can't wait to
Tune in
hear your
tomorrow.
concept. I can't wait to hear that.
You
They
know?
hang
So,
Oh,
welcome to my world.
won't you come on in?
yeah.
You see, this is why I know it's so right, where you have
Mm.
laughter and even dealing with, we deal with some serious heavy stuff here, but
Yeah.
we can still laugh and just realize that it is part of the journey.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
all know that as much as we know we didn't know anything and we're
Yeah.
having to relearn everything all over again. And who knows if even that's right, we may come to a higher perspective. So we're about the evolution of our consciousness. We aren't trying to stick to any one group or dogma or anything because we've just seen so much wrong with all of them. I think it's time to get something better. And the same mind that created the same stuff is not going to create the solution. We have to rise above this and get to a new level of consciousness to solve the problems we're currently facing.
Yeah.
yeah,
I keep on getting this image in my spirit mind that we're 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 as a group and the hallway just goes to infinity and the doors and we've broken up into groups and we're knocking on the door to see if it's going to be the answer that the group is looking for.
Right.
And
And you know
sometimes
what
we
I
open
see?
these doors and it leads us off and we get off of the track of the path, but we come back out into the hall.
Yeah. We
And there's
always
some
come
of us
back.
that didn't go. And they're
Yeah.
they're like, well, what happened to you guys?
Right. 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 We're finding our vibe, we're finding our tribe. It's going more and more and more. And as the bifurcation happens, it's going to get clearer and clearer. And I think it's very interesting how I see all the fractals coming together. It's very beautiful.
oh, Trina, you've just hit on something there. A vision I had the other day about glass, like
Mm.
mineral glass in the space that literally deflects sight. So a whole planet was behind these shards of glass that to us would be like a hall of mirrors, that we wouldn't even see what was beyond it, but it's there, it's present, and quite large. And the Iranian aircraft that I got through a vision years ago, that is almost invisible to the eye, if not completely invisible, I realized, oh, okay, so that's similar technology to that. It's just the way that it's obviously covered in a glass-like formation and using vibration, it scatters the sight. You just can't see it. So the fractals of that glass were bringing other things in for me too.
Scotty
Yeah.
Boy says some of us are still roaming the halls and hanging out
Get
in the
back in class,
hanging out in the
Scotty.
boys' room and lagging
Yes,
quarters and
girl.
smoking cigarettes.
Right? I'll probably see you in 10, Scotty.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
how I
you'll
got
always
my
have
lunch
to
money
go
many times. I'd go there at 10 o'clock and, we had in between class and I could win a dollar or two, lagging
Right.
quarters. It's like, all
Right.
right.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Ah, Scotty boy, I think I ran into you a couple of times in the hall. I don't know.
I love it. I
Well,
love it.
girls, this has been like an hour that went like that.
I
Yeah.
know.
I mean,
Fast.
wow. Okay, well, we hope everybody, someone says smoking in the boys' room. It's a great song too. Brownsville Station. I mean, yeah, smoking in the boys' room.
Yeah, I remember Motley Crue.
Yeah, Motley Crue, did they sing that one? Yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah,
did.
I remember Brownsville Station when they sang
I
that,
think
but
it
it's,
was Motley Crue. Yeah, I think
yeah.
it was. Great.
because that's where we actually. Bonnie says I smoked in the girls' room too. Did
Me
y'all?
too, buddy. Me too.
Yeah,
Yeah, me
I never knew
too.
what the girls did in their facility.
Similar
My
stuff we just
principal,
down.
my
Where you?
principal, he saw me so much and he knew I didn't lie. So he called me and, were you smoking today? Because I get busted in the bathroom and they always drug me in. And I was like, no, I wasn't smoking today. He's like, all right, back to class. Next day, Trina, were you smoking today? Yep, I even had two. He knew.
uh, it's a damn shame that youth is wasted on the young. But anyway, it's true. I mean, it's like, you know, that's why I kind of figure it's like this. If you stay young in your spirit, you can be moved in a different category of youth, but it's still youth. It's like we're playing football. I can
You
be
know,
on either team.
yeah, my dad is that vision for me. He literally shows me that every day. He's going to be 80 this year, and he is
Oh,
so
excellent.
handsome and so fit, and he has Agent Orange leukemia, and he's got all these things, and he's just strong and healthy and doing good and hanging in there. And he's 80, and he's so handsome, and he's got girlfriends that are younger than me. I'm like, it's ridiculous. He's he's the
You made it.
epitome of that, young in
I
his
love
mind,
that.
and
Yeah, it's true.
it's
Yeah.
really carried him a long way and it's done very well for him. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like my
It's very
wife says, you never dress your age. And I said,
no,
exactly. Well, who comes up with that idea? I mean,
right.
if I
What
dated
age am I?
in my past lives, I dated a gal who designed clothes. I mean, she actually had showings in New York City, in Atlanta, and what have you. And if there's one thing I learned from her is that the best style is your style.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It is, and
Yeah.
that's what she taught me. She says, never
Yeah.
worry about what's in. She says, if you always dress to your style, you're always in style.
Oh
Yeah.
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 With this
Yeah.
relations with Abby, who's now Rosie, she's because she's always had such good style and such quirky style. So like she turned up in a frog dress the other day, but it was completely tailored and it looked so beautiful on it. And because she's just done that inner work to get to that space to own herself, she's always had compliments, but she didn't hear them. So they didn't exist to her. Now she's got people coming up saying, what earrings have you got in today? And there'll be pigeons, or there'll be little birds, and she's got that, and it's
Awesome.
such a beautiful and attractive thing to see in somebody who owns themselves.
Yeah.
I love
Yes.
it. Love
I
it.
Her
do
path
too.
will be one of much more enrichment because of that.
Gosh, yeah, she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So glad she's
Yeah.
reached at a young age that she
Yeah.
can
Mm.
embrace that with all the wisdom she's got. She can be, oh, it's just so lovely. I have to send you a picture of her in a frog dress because then
I'd
she
love to
Oh,
looks,
see that. Yeah.
me too. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
oh, Trina, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll send you because she looks so adorable. I was
It's
like, you
amazing.
dressed like that when you were 3. So,
The
lovely.
wise, the children in us is the wisdom in us. So I think, yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
yay.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
great.
and that child
I love
dance.
that.
She wears caterpillar earrings when she likes. She's got little worm rings popping out of the soil. Like she's
Mm,
making her quirky things. And I'll send you some pictures. She's
awesome.
just
Mm,
adorable to see that self-ownership and what we talked about before, that marry me. She's married
mm,
herself. She's made an alignment with self, without any judgment. And the flow that's coming forward for her is just so wonderful. But for Nathan, I keep getting, and I don't know why, the Seven of Spades, to look up the meaning of the Seven of Spades, and to also look out for something of Seven of Spades, that there's going to be some inner standing there for him somewhere, regarding the Seven of Spades.
Well, we love the comments, everybody. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
well,
Thank you so
next
kind.
Tuesday we'll meet. It'll be post
Mm,
eclipse. We'll see if the world is still here. I'm my money says yes, but
Mm.
I wanted us to thank the both of you too. This is one of the programs that there was a lot of NASA shared. A lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Hey, Ginger, how you doing, darling? Rick, Scotty Boy, all the rest of you. Uh, Scotty Boy says frog dresses are adorable.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
it's so
So I love that. Gaia,
good.
we love you and Paul and Abbott and
Oh,
Shirley and
yeah.
everybody else, Nina and everyone. So thank you, ladies. Much love to you too.
Much love.
Much
Everybody.
love to you.
Yeah.
Mwah.
Oh man, I love hugs. You
Yeah.
know. So